All right, boys and girls, it's Ebro, Lauren Rosenberg. Give it up for Ryan Destiny and Brian Tyree Henry. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Ebro, I'm impressed, man. Lots of names. Some of them rhymed. You still went through
I
all
almost
of them.
went to just Ryan and Brian.
Yeah, I knew you wanted to
Give it up for Ryan and Brian.
We just realized. I was like, oh, I forgot that it's Ryan and Brian. Like, that's I was like, what? Ryan and Brian. Yeah,
You guys should do a morning show. Ryan and Brian in the morning.
in the morning.
Yeah, you're either a morning show, a mid-market morning show, or like a 1980s tag team.
Why not both?
Or both.
You know what I'm saying?
Ryan and Brian off the top rope. So, Ryan, you're playing Claressa Shields.
I am.
Who is obviously, if you're watching, women's boxing is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah.
Right? And Claressa obviously was a trailblazer, and before her was Layla Ali, and they had a little back and forth, and they tried to make something of it.
Before that, Christy Martin.
But I'm sure you met with Claressa Shields just preparing for this big moment, right? What was that meeting like, and what's she like?
Well, there were various times at this point, but a lot of our, I guess, like pre-filming was through text and DM, and a lot of that was like up to timing. Like the pandemic happened, she was training like across the country. I was about to go to her fight, it got canceled. Like, so there was just always things that would happen. But when we did finally meet, it was after she saw the film for the first time, like very early stages on.
Wow.
And she cried and she loved it. And we met literally the day after. And I'm just so thankful she loved it because it would have been really awkward if she did not.
Can you imagine if she squared up like after, oh, that's your portrayal, and then y'all fight?
Like, can you imagine?
I can.
I would have been like,
funny.
I'm out.
Brian's like, I'd have been into it.
Like, yo, that's amazing.
Like, no. But no, she's an incredible person. I wish more people got to like meet her in person and talk to her.
How do you channel qualities from a person who is like, it's one thing, obviously actors portray people all the time.
Yeah.
But fighters are different.
Very different.
By nature, they do something that, with all due respect, normal people don't want to do.
No, I say the same thing all the time.
So like, how do you go about channeling something that's so hard to relate to?
Man, I think it was a combination of me realizing how rare of an opportunity that this was, and this role in particular I knew was very, very special. So I was scared out of my mind. Like, I was so scared, and I kind of used the fear to just like jump in head first all the way, just like no, all gas, no brakes, literally. So I think that helped a lot, me kind of letting go and understanding how important it is for her story to be told. And I think that was at the forefront of my mind throughout the entire time. And that kept me going. And the little seed of confidence that I did have, I just like tried to maximize it as much as possible. Because literally that I say all the time, like, it's a superhuman type of confidence. Like, it's not normal, you know? And it's like one thing for an athlete's confidence, and it's another for a boxer's confidence.
Correct.
Like, it's just so different. So I knew it'd be a challenge, and it was very fulfilling for me and completely new. So,
and dudes do it all the time, right? Like, especially when it comes to cinema, dudes do it all the time when it's time to get in shape, and you know, they'll eat a can of tuna and an apple, and then, you know, they're so to see you, especially a black woman, stand in there and do the thing and actually do the regime of what she had to do.
Well, the physical part I almost can gather more because you're to your point, like, we have seen so many people who cut the weight, and you're like, wow, what discipline.
Right.
But then there's that next part of like taking on the mentality of someone who stands in front of people and gets punched in the face. Like, it's just such a like, even though we could sit here and criticize a Jake Paul, for example, whoever it is, like, oh, he's not a real boxer. Yo, once you are willing in front of millions of people to go stand in front of a ring and fight Mike Tyson
to take
or
a
anyone,
hit, period. You took a hit, didn't you? You took a hit. I was like, anytime you do boxing, somebody's gonna take a hit.
No, I took a few, and I'd never been in a fight before, so that hit was like, oh.
That's what that feels like. I don't love this.
No, literally, I was like, yeah, never again.
Yeah.
But no, it was really fun. And I literally, to piggyback off of what you said, it's definitely something to transform physically, but I was really scared about the mental more than even that.
Right.
So, yes.
When you were studying her life, what were some of the things that really stood out for you? Like, what were the things that really, like, you felt deep?
Ooh, I mean, I guess it was her. We're both from Michigan. She's from Flint, and I'm from Detroit. And because we're also the same age, I just kind of felt a connection in her trying to do this really big thing at this young age. Like, obviously she's made history. I haven't, but
Psych.
but like, but
Yet.
for her to, I don't know, just be able to take on something as huge as she did and literally make history like she did is something that's kind of crazy at a young age. And I think I related to that in sort of doing something that you feel like is almost impossible, and me just trying to make it in this industry is just a lot. But I think that was one of the more deeper things that I connected on, and thank God for her documentary, because I really got a front seat in her family life, her friends, and how she would, interact with everyone around her, including her coach, Jason. And it was really, really important for me to have that, because it was like a notebook for me, and I kept it like a diary throughout the entire process.
Well, Brian, you are the coach. You play Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever coached anybody in boxing before?
Can you imagine? Yeah. I was like, it's like method acting at this point. No, I never have. Even going into boxing gyms is intimidating, because I'm like, it's like you don't step in there unless you want to, square up. And Jason is such a rare air, because this man started his own gym in his own community in Flint, Michigan, training young kids, which he does to this day. He's still there doing it. Wow. And for him to take on this young girl, was something that was unheard of. And not only to take her on, but to make her an Olympic champion is another thing. And what I love about their connection is that, he also became a mentor and became like a father figure and took her in. And we rarely get to see stories like that. I've always been fascinated about the athlete-coach dynamic, right? Because to see the potential in somebody and to actually be there day in, day out, training them, it's kind of very similar to like military training, but to watch this man who also was a contender at one point really like follow the dream and pass it on to her was another thing. And listen, the first time I met him was also at the premiere at TIFF. We were in Toronto. And, he's a very mild man, very humble, very loving, met his wife, met his daughter. He truly is just the biggest heart I've ever met. But also to watch the reconnection between him and Claressa, because, things happen where they went separate ways, but to see that the sinew of who they are is still there is amazing. And I mean, he's still coaching. There's something to be said about that. To know that is the way he wants to give back to his community. To know that that's the way he wants to leave his mark in Flint is unbelievable. So yeah, but playing him was truly one of the best things ever.
Correct me if I'm wrong. At a point though, Claressa was very dominant in boxing to the point they didn't want to give her certain fights, if I recall. It was like a thing, right? Where she was dominating women so much, it was hard for her to get big fights during the time.
Yeah, I think just because of how rare she is as a fighter, and then having to do the different weight classes and everything else is
she went through 5 or 6 different weight classes.
Man, yes.
And they also didn't like that she was so braggadocious, right? They couldn't believe that here you have this young black woman coming out talking like the fellas and demanding pay equality and saying that she's the greatest woman what is it, quote?
Quote.
Greatest woman, the greatest woman of all time. And they couldn't handle that, you know what I mean? And it's crazy to think about this sport, this field. She has 2 gold medals, right? 2 Olympic gold medals pretty much consecutively. And no one was giving her the shine. I realized when I got the script, I was like, have I not heard about this? And how, why wasn't there that much acclaim? And so, I think that she earned it. She knew exactly who she was. She still stands by it. But what I also love about her is her humanity. I tripped because I was like, man, I felt like we went to high school together. This is exactly who I would have kicked it with. So she still has that presence, but the persona of her as a boxer, I believe, is incredibly earned because she doesn't back down. She really doesn't. She's the one that changed pay equality, in boxing amongst women. So, yeah, I think she's truly historical, like you said.
After doing this, do you kind of hear from the boxing world? Because I know as soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, I'm taking my daughter. I have a 10-year-old. Awesome. I want her to see the work ethic. I want her to see what it takes, right? Because she obviously isn't growing up the way I grew up. So I worry that while she's super intelligent and driven and all these things, I worry that she doesn't quite grasp what it takes to overcome challenges because she doesn't really have a lot yet.
Yeah.
But So I wanted to see, especially black women, having to really fit into spaces and believe in things beyond themselves that maybe have never been accomplished before.
Yeah.
But have you guys heard from the boxing world in appreciation of doing this film?
I mean, I guess not on the wide spectrum just because it's not exactly out yet. But definitely throughout filming and meeting a lot of the boxers and a lot of the people, well, every single person that I actually fought in the film were real boxers. Mm-hmm. So they were just, giving their praises, being so great with me. And they loved and appreciated what I was doing as well, and being obviously a huge fan of Claressa. And yeah, I think those little things and seeing, I guess, the representation in something like this where it is a big platform and it's in the theaters and going to be, across America and other countries. But yeah, it's something that I think they have shown their appreciation for, and I felt it a lot during filming. So hopefully it can continue when it's actually out. So
Paperboy.
Oh my God.
Well, that's a great starting point. Can I ask this real quick?
Yeah.
Is Paperboy that kind of you get yelled at on the street kind of character?
All the time.
That's where I was exactly going.
So
yo, Paperboy.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was like, it's gonna happen.
And it's every day?
No, I was every day. Luckily, I mean, I've made a body of work.
I've
made a body of work where people can say Brian now.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of Paperboy or that dude from. So like,
no. And it's not even so much about that as much as the connection. Because your name definitely rings bells. But when people see you, there's that visceral, cultural.
I mean, I think Donald knew what he was doing when he did that. Like, I mean, we did a whole episode about that. So like, I was already able to like, I just didn't imagine the reach that it would have. Like, I've been to other countries and I've heard people screaming Paperboy and they don't even speak English. And I'm just like, well, so I mean.
Which also feels like another episode of Atlanta.
My whole life is an episode of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like, even being here is an episode of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to embrace that that's what that is. So yeah, like it's gonna be a moniker that I have for the rest of my life. I had a vision the other day, not a vision, but like I was like, oh yo, if I die, like it's gonna be like Atlanta's Paperboy passed today. And I was like, okay, I just have to deal with that. Like that's just what that is. That's what people recognize, and I'm honored. I don't mind, but it gets crazy sometimes to like hear it so often.
How far you seem in our very limited interaction here, far off from Paperboy the character.
It's great. That means I'm doing my job.
Right. So how much of a stretch was it to be that? Because you really did. All of us, I think, felt a lot of connection to the show because we're in the industry.
No, I thought that was you, dog. Until I saw you in another film and was like, oh, that's not
really.
Compliment.
It really felt like
that's the best compliment.
A thespian.
Yeah. That's the best compliment. That is why I do what I do. Like I spent most of my life having people tell me the things I deserve and what I don't deserve and what I can be and where I should be and where I should move. When I got into acting, I was like, well, let me like stretch your imagination a little bit. Like, I'm just a kid from North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Like, I just wanted to represent all the men in my life that I've interacted with, my best friends, my mentors, and like find a way to show them back to themselves. And so
that's what Paperboy was.
I mean, truly. I mean, I went to college in Atlanta. Like Paperboy is modeled after one of my closest friends. Like, he's literally like somebody I spent every day with. We would, smoke, roll up the crystals, like, go to Roach Street Projects, grab a dime bag, and then like, I was like, oh, I know this guy. So I'm still shocked. I was like, y'all were sure you want me? Like, I was like, okay. But it was the best opportunity I had. And I wanted people to know that I related to him. I knew who he was. I wanted people to care about him. I wanted people to realize it's somebody that they knew. Because I realized when this show came out, there are people who would watch it who would probably never invite somebody like him into their living room, who wouldn't even talk to him, who wouldn't even know that he had fears or, like would cry or could laugh or could be the funniest person in the room. And so I was like, well, those parts are in me. So why not just like throw it out there, So
well, and it's you went to Morehouse, I read,
yeah.
But you also went to I think Yale Drama School,
Yale School of Drama,
right?
Yeah.
Those, I mean, just that kind of those kind of accolades, right? For actors, I'm sure goes a long way in y'all's game, right? Like, is that
going into, you don't know that. Like, I was not well versed in furthering education and acting. I like I said, I'm a black kid from the South. What I saw on the television and what I saw in theater, it wasn't. I didn't see me. I had no way thought that there was any way that I could go on to be sitting here with you all talking about what I'm talking about. But I had so many people in my life that were just like, why don't you try? Like, go do it. Like, even when I got to Yale, they were putting things like Chekhov and Ibsen in front of you before they put August Wilson, Right. So I wasn't sure that there was space, but I also was like, let's play with them a little bit. I was like, there's no skin in the game. You love it, go in, play, show all the colors you can, show them that there's many different colors to who we can be. We're not monolithic. We can show you every single side. And I just went for it. Now, I was also crazy. I was a young, crazy kid and just wanted to experiment with whatever it was. But, I don't know. It's so bizarre because I'm still in awe, of all the things and places and spaces I've been able to occupy. But that's the point of it, right? Like, you kind of have to stretch imaginations. And I think that is what getting that training helped me do, because one of the main things I did going into Yale was like, well, they took you for you, so don't let this school and institution change you. That's right. Like, what did you bring to it? Like, keep the flavors about who you are, and then just add a little things to your tool belt. So, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for the institutions that I went to, truly. But I really wanted to just stay true to who I was.
And Ryan, you, my nephews, when you were on Grownish, I'm sure people still bring that character up for you as well.
I mean, yes, they do. People bring up Star a lot more often. But Grownish was, a really great little chapter too, and it's cool when people bring it up, because that was a fun detour character.
So you're kind of when I go through social media, you're a hot topic. The guys are very, very enamored by you.
Is that right?
Yes, they are. I'm sure you've seen
this. That's funny. I mean, not much. I feel like I have a lot of love from women, and I love that so much. So I guess pay more attention to that. But that's sweet.
But men are so toxic and fun.
Yeah. Why not?
Can toxic and fun be in the same sentence? Is that a thing?
If you're being
toxic.
Oh, okay, I was like,
no, if you're toxic, it is.
Yeah.
Right, if you're toxic, you're like,
Exactly.
If you're toxic, it's toxic and fun. Well, listen, A Fire Inside. What's the release date?
Christmas Day.
That's, by the way, that's big in and of itself. Just having the big Christmas Day family kind of movie to drop.
Yeah.
That's a big
And
thing.
I know a lot of black families go to the movies on Christmas, so everybody go. Like, everybody go. Like, it was a tradition in my family.
We do Christmas, we do early presents, and then try to get to a movie.
And then go to a movie.
Yeah.
Do you guys eat Christmas Eve or y'all eat Christmas Day?
Both.
Well, no, when's the first meal?
Like the festive meal.
Like the 23rd.
I do Christmas Day.
That's the main meal, it's Christmas Day.
Yes. I need to come over to your house
Yeah,
then.
you should. Like, the hella pies all the time. Like, you just start 23rd, 24th,
So
25th.
just keep on rolling.
Why not?
roll,
Might as well keep it going.
Ebro, your big meal is what day?
We do Christmas Eve meal, like dinner, and then we hang out, and then we wake up early and do gifts.
Right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
meal is
leftovers,
Eve, right?
Yeah, of
Then
course.
it's leftovers,
You know what?
gifts, and
Maybe I
leftovers
do
on
Eve.
Christmas Day. Okay.
Yeah.
right, and then that's
That
because you
sounds
kind
more-
of roll through, right? Because everybody drinking.
Well,
and
also depends
playing
how big is your
spades.
family. Like, how big is it? Because my
That's true.
family's like rolling 35
Oh,
deep.
so
So
we're
I'm
not
like,
that
no,
big.
we
Yeah.
ain't.
You gotta stretch this out over multiple
Yeah, you
days.
gotta stretch it
Right.
out.
When can you make it?
Yeah,
Tell me
like,
when you get
and also, will I open the door today? I don't know. Like, but Christmas.
Well, on behalf of the Jews on Christmas, Chinese
Chinese,
dinner.
come on.
You get the Chinese dinner, but the movie's a big thing too.
Yeah.
So
I
I've
love
done that
that.
multiple times with my mom. We go out on Christmas and catch a
So
film.
can we make a pact right here that you guys are going to be there Christmas Day?
Yes,
I
we
think we can make a pact.
Let's do it. 'Cause I need to take Issa. For
Okay,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
taking Issa
So
for
it's
sure.
going
That's
down.
I
happening.
would so love to hear what she thinks about it.
Yeah.
Also, if you do go though, like, get your snacks like early. Like, I took my family. Like, Spider-Man came out on Christmas, and like they missed all my stuff because they were trying to get chicken tenders. So get your snacks early.
Spider-Verse, because
Yeah,
you did the
Spider-Verse,
voice
yeah.
of
Spider-Man's dad.
Spider-Man's
yeah.
dad.
Yeah. So like I took all my great nieces and nephews. They had their Spider-Man toys. I gave them all to her. And they're in the theater, but all my sisters and my nieces and nephews were getting chicken tenders.
The chicken tenders.
And I was like, y'all missed the whole... So
we're from the era where there wasn't even chicken
tenders. Wasn't even chicken tenders?
I
was like, y'all got hot meals? There's hot meals here?
No, we were smuggling in food.
Smuggling in? I mean, we still did. I still do.
Yeah, but guess what? You know what the better thing was about our day? They at least squeeze the nacho cheese onto the thing. Don't give you the one little
the
weak
side
cup.
thing.
The quote nacho cheese.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
No, I want to see it evacuating that
Have you
gross
figured
machine.
Have you figured out how to get the butter to the bottom of the bag though? So I have a technique.
Okay,
so take one of the straws that they give you for your big drink,
know
put
that's
it down the middle of the popcorn.
This might be the biggest part.
Squeeze the butter down the straw and then pull the straw up lightly and it'll disperse the butter. From me to you, Hot 97. From me to you.
Crazy.
You're saying.
No, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal because the shaking of the bag
doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's
It's so
so
frustrating. So take the straw, put it down
through the straw,
and then
release
pull it up.
the straw.
There you go.
Brian Tyree.
Trademark.
Thank you guys. We learned something.
Ryan in the morning.
Thank y'all, man.
Thank you guys so much.